I wanted to talk a little bit about the nature of desire. We started some this week with a conversation about the fact that the mind and body, being purely mechanical, just kind of flash these past experiences and memories before us, and it's our attachment to them or our identity with them that turns them into a desire that makes them something that we're interested in. Hafiz has a wonderful poem where he says 3 times in that poem, he says, "Every desire of your body is holy. My friend, do not wait until you are dying to realize this truth." And that's something that one has to really sit with, because there's plenty of scriptures and teachings that are unified in all of the world's religions that would suggest that all the desires of my body are not holy. And so there's something to be understood there, something to be seen there. And he says, Latu Maharaj, the other day, 2 or 3 days ago, we talked about the fact that one of his young disciples asked him, "How do I get rid of all of these desires that I've got in my mind?" And he said, he was kind of disappointed. He said, "You haven't learned the nature of your mind yet." He said, "There's only one desire of the soul, and that is that union with the beloved. The mind just has whims, little things that it just tosses up, and it's you, again, identifying with them that make them happen." So what does that actually look like? You see, your only desire in life, you're as the self, the true you, not body, mind, but that soul, let's say. The only desire of that soul is its own essence, its own being, which is that union with the beloved, that one without a second. And so how does that then become all of this multitude of desires that we live out? Well, you see, the nature of the soul, one of the natures of the soul, the self, is unchanging. That absolute strength, security, isness, no threat, just, unchanging self. When it hits a mind, how does that look in the mind? The mind needs attributes. It can't just say unchanging self. It needs attributes. So how does that play out? Well, it plays out in the ideas of pride, being proud of what you do. That's a shoring up, giving that stability. There's the idea of security, of being secure in yourself. That becomes a desire. Safety. It becomes a knowledge, wanting to know things, that shores up that security, that stability, that unchanging idea. So in the mind, that unchanging quality of the soul gets translated into those things, those needs, as mental needs. In the body, that becomes money, wealth, respect, these things that shore up that security, that unchanging nature. Another quality of the soul that we talk about is that bliss, that ananda. Well, when that bliss, that ananda desire of the soul for its own self hits the mind and becomes identified with mind, it becomes a desire for happiness. It becomes a desire for joy, for positivity, for optimism, for a good life. And so we start looking for things in the mental world that shore up that happiness. In the body, that bliss gets translated as pleasure. So we look for things that are pleasing or pleasant to do. So we try and reconstruct the nature of our soul in the mind and in the body. That union of the soul, that oneness of all things, that one without a second, when that hits the mind, that is things like trust of people around you. We want to be able to trust our environment, trust the people we work with, trust the people that we love. That intimacy, that union, that closeness with friends, that closeness, that mental closeness, knowing someone, spending time with someone. In the body, that gets translated as partners, that gets translated as husband or wife or boyfriends, girlfriends. It becomes translated as family. It becomes translated as relationships or friends. So this union, this oneness of all things that is your nature, hits the mind and becomes trust and intimacy, hits the body, becomes partners, families, friends, and healthy relationships. They become the desire. They become the expression of this inner reality that now you have confused with mind and with body. this sense of being, this sense of isness, this existence absolute of the soul. When that hits the mind, it becomes thinking. We find our existence in the fact that we can think, the fact that we can experience, the fact that we can touch, the fact that we see. It's all of this grinding of the gears. I am, therefore I think, therefore I am. So this being becomes confused with thinking, with cogitating. In the body, it becomes activity, it becomes experience, it becomes accomplishments, it becomes travel, it becomes diversions. It's this need to experience, to be alive, to live life. So you can see that if you take all of these three columns, and see that all of the things of the mind and all of the things of the body are actually an expression of the soul's desire just to be what it is, that Sat Chit Ananda, that unchanging, absolute, blissful, loving, present, intelligent self. And when it reaches the mind on the subtle level, it becomes these ideas. And when it's identified with the body, it becomes the expression of those things. So know yourself to be before the body, before the mind. Know yourself to have these attributes inherent in who you are before your body, mind, or personality, or thinking, or all of those things. And in the silence of self, sit in that place and know that you don't have to go looking through the mind in order to recreate the sense of self, and you don't have to go living through a body in order to find substitutions or descriptions of this nature of yours. That's the challenge of meditation, to sort out who you are from who you think you are, to sort out your being, and to know that it is self-contained, that it needs nothing, desires nothing, but the knowledge of its own reality.